Welcome back up on the mountain today. We went by the home improvement store, picked up some metal panels, a few more 2x4s. We're going to continue on our RV barn. Today we need to add some cross bracing on all these legs, put our stringers or rafters over the top, and see if we can get any sheet metal shot down today. I don't know if we're going to get all that done, but let's get started. I think we're going to start with the sway braces. That way when we're up on top, the building is a little bit more stable. Now instead of buying lumber for this, we're over here at the sawmill. I have a bunch of these pine. Let me see if I can get one of these out of here. They're pine. They're 3 inches by 1.5 inches or 1 3/4 inches, and they're about 8 feet long. They are a little bit wavy, which is why I haven't used them for anything else, but they'll be perfect for these sway braces. So let's collect some of these, get them back up there where we're building the RV barn, start cutting. Now these pine boards have been sitting here for a while, and there's some bad spots in them. We're only looking for sway braces about 6 feet long. So we'll cut out the good sections, throw away the bad, and it'll all work out. Now before we cut too many of these at 6 foot long, we need to climb up there and stretch it across where we want to put it and make sure it's going to fit without interfering with this rafter setup right here, because we don't want to cut them all again. So it looks like 6 feet's too long, so I'm going to shorten them to 5 feet and we'll try it again. Perfect. So I think the plan is going to be use the nail gun over here and shoot the sway brace behind this 2x6, and then we're going to butt it into this post, and we're going to use the screw gun to attach the bottom side. That way that sway brace will be in compression against the leg. I think that'll be the best. All right, that seemed to go really well. We just need to repeat the process 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more times, and then we'll figure out what to do on the end. Let me show you these boards up close. Now I cut this down from a rotted tree, and you can tell the end of this is pretty bad, but we're going to come back up here into the good wood, cut our 45-degree angle. We'll measure out 5 feet, cut a 45-degree on that angle also, and it does give us a good little scrap pile. But you can see the wood at the end is really good that we're saving. So this is a good use for wood that would otherwise just go in the burn pile. Let's keep at it. All right, we've pre-positioned all of our cut sway braces around the outside. And we just got to get our screw gun and a nail gun all reloaded, climb the ladder, and put these things together. I forgot to pick up 2 more screws. All right, that takes care of the 4 on the hard side. Now let's move to the easy side. It's about 2 feet lower. All right, we're moving right along. We have 3 of the 4 on this side finished. We have 1 more to do in the corner. Now the intersection here isn't quite perfect because we were actually hitting this rafter up here, so I had to push it down just a little bit. I should have shot this one on first and then adjusted this one to match, but it's good enough for the cars we drive, but it's good enough for the girls we date, but it's good enough for the games we play, but it's good enough for the RVs we camp in. But I'm pretty sure it's better this way. Just ask me, I'll tell you. Well, that's it for all the sway braces going along this side and this side. Now we've got to figure out what to do here in the back. Now the back one's easy. I think we're just going to go to longer sway braces. So these were 5 foot. We're going to go to 6 foot so they come out underneath. We can't do that in the front because we need to back the camper in. So we'll have to come up with a whole new operation up here. Probably we'll go to, this is 10-6 on this side. So we'll go 10-6 down on this side, and we'll take a 2x4 or something and just make an A-frame out of that. I'm not going to do that till after the roof's up. So let's get these back ones cut real quick. All right, that's going to do it for all the sway braces. Now we need to start putting the rafters on top of the trusses, I guess. Now we know this deck is just over 22 feet long, and I bought all 12-foot 2x4s for these rafters. So we're going to have some type of a spacer in the middle, because I want about a 1-foot overhang on this side and a 1-foot overhang on that side. So probably about a 2.5-foot spacer should work. But we're going to just lay our 12-footers up there, get the overhang, and then we'll measure in the middle how long of a piece we need. All right, we went with a 16-inch overlap on both ends, out there and back there. And that leaves us a little gap here in the middle. We knew this wasn't going to be centered because we had to offset it because of this post. But that's okay. All we need to do is measure the gap between here and then cut some blocks to reinforce the backside. Nail it down and we're all good. Now it's super hard and sketchy to be up here trying to film and hammer and cut and measure. So I'm going to put the camera down and do all those things, and then we'll come back and look at it. All right, we just made a piece 16 3/4 long with 2 8-inch blocks already nailed to it. We're going to take it up there, wedge it between the existing boards, attach it to the existing boards, but we're not going to shoot it down yet. We're going to see if we can straighten it, then go up on the hill and look to make sure that line is straight. All right, we have our block wedged in there. Now looking at that roof line, our 2x4 looks pretty straight. Perhaps it needs to go in just a little bit in the middle. We can push it in about a 1/4 inch and nail it down. That gets our first rafter attached right along this outside edge. Now we did have to go up there with a skill saw and trim up a couple of these that were sticking out long. It means we're probably going to have to do the same thing on the uphill side, but we'll worry about that right now. So yesterday I was planning on running 6 sets of rafters across the trusses, but then I forgot 6 sets is going to leave a gap right in the middle, and we are going to be using 8-foot long metal, so we need 2 pieces that overlap in the middle. So I picked up 2 more 2x6 by 12s or 2x4 by 12s, and we'll run 7 courses just so we get a nice middle. That should be better. We're also running these rafters flat. That way I can shoot nails in from the top a lot easier than having to toe nail it all in. On this other building, we turned them up on edge, but it's a lot lower to work on, and I don't think the span is too much. Since we're running 7 courses of rafters instead of 6, it'll be closer anyway. Let's get some more boards up there. Also on this first rafter, we made that spacer at 16 3/4. I think we're going to make them all like that. We're going to overhang the fronts. I don't know. I don't even remember. Right. Also for this high side, we're going to reconfigure our ladder into just a tall ladder. Since we have our sway braces on, I feel pretty confident that the building's not going to fall over. That should be a lot safer. All right, we have our 16-inch overhang on both ends. Now we got to measure this gap in the middle. To me, it looks about the same, but it's not. It's 15 1/4. Think about this for a minute. If we make this edge shorter than the other edge, the metal isn't going to line up right. We could probably tighten up the metal on one side and loosen it on the other, but I don't know if that's a good idea. So maybe we will go ahead and make the same gap in the middle on all of them and just overhang the back a little bit further. I don't know. Let me think about that for a minute. All right, we're going to do the right thing and make the middle gap 16 inches on everything, and so it'll make it easy to cut the boards. It'll be 16 8-inch boards. Maybe that'll work. Keep the exposure on the front 16, let it overhang a little bit more or less on the back. The good news is we can go ahead and assemble 6 more of those spacer sets right here on the ground and not have to measure each one. All right, we went ahead and cut all of our spacer blocks. Sure hope I remembered the measurement correctly. And now we just got to nail them all together. It'd be pretty easy, just a block, a block. Using way too many nails in this. clip's empty. Right, that should make the rest of the project really easy up on the ladder. For this first one, I still want to put the middle block in, go up on the hill and look down and make sure that line is perfectly straight. The ones in the middle don't really matter. All right, we're slowly making progress. We have the outside edge, and one middle one. Now we just have 4 more to put here in the middle. I'm going to try to do 2 at a time. Less trips up and down the ladder. Maybe. We don't know. All right, 2 at a time aren't easy because the ladder lines right up on one or the other, but we're going to stick with it. All right, so doing 2 at a time in the middle with all the extra parts that we have to nail together, that's too much work. We're going to go back to 1 at a time, but we only have 2 more left. Of course, we still have to shoot this together and all the other parts, but we're getting closer. On these next 2, we're going to go ahead and shoot these blocks on the end while we're down here on the ground. That way we don't have to worry about it up in the air. Perfect. All right, that's all the roof framing, except for one more sway brace in the front. Let's see if we can figure that out. I think what we should do is right up there underneath those 2x6s, we could shoot a 2x4 on and bring it out here wherever 8 feet is. We'll stay above our 10.6 minimum, so let's get that done real quick. We have a clamp in place over there, our ladder over here. Let's get this done. Let's get back here in the back corner, admire our work. We have a nice frame set on the top. Nice overhangs everywhere. I think that sway brace came out pretty good. Still pretty high. We won't run into it with the camper. And it will definitely keep this thing from rocking. The only thing left to do is put metal on the roof. But we're not going to do that today. We're going to clean up our tools and go back to the barn and have a cold one. But you don't have to stick around for that. Get outside, do something fun. Come back and tell me about it.